Blackstone presents Supply of Heroes, a novel, by James Carroll. This book is read by John Lescault. For My Mother and for Jenny. Introduction. Ireland's modern war against England began on an Easter weekend, and 82 years later it ended on an Easter weekend. The Irish are a pilgrim people, and the progress of that resolution ran from 1916 to 1998, from the Republican insurrection on Easter Monday to the Good Friday Agreement establishing peace among Belfast, Dublin, and London, between Unionists and Republicans, Protestants and Catholics. That the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ are the brackets within which this history unfolded has profound resonance. A theology that gives primacy to sacrifice, even martyrdom, was embodied in the embrace by all sides of redemptive violence. But the willingness to die for a cause bled into readiness to kill for it. Enemies abounded in Ireland, and so did heroes. But sorting out one from the other depended on myth, denial, and a habit of misremembering. Alas, across most of a century, the self-destroying island was shrouded in green fog, an air of asphyxiation. This novel tells one of the island stories, or two of them, or three. Such pluralism is what Ireland has learned. An Irish American raised to the music of IRA rebel songs, I learned from my mother that her Uncle Jim had died back home in Tipperary in 1916, the mythic year. He died, she said, fighting the British in the great insurrection, the Rising. When I later went to Ireland myself, I sought out the old, abandoned cemetery where my mother's uncle was buried. But what I found shocked me. The weathered grave marker confirmed that he died in 1916, but not as an anti-London rebel. The tombstone identified him as a British soldier who'd been killed in France, perhaps at that year's savage Battle of the Somme, when only 2 months after the Rising, legions of Micks were killed. And that simply, in a flash, I was brought into the complex middle ground of authentic Irish experience, a complicated landscape in which I've built my life. Supply of Heroes unfolds across that terrain, where either-or absolutism yields to both and complexity. In this novel, a war story, a detective story, a love story, enemies are not what they seem, and neither are heroes. That is why the narrative centers on an Anglo-Irish family whose place in between the extremes was laid waste.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?